Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another day of Scraptember. Today the prompt is a single photo, and we are also, or I am also participating in Mixed Media Mayhem. Today we have an inspiration piece from Moira O'Reilly, and I really like this piece. I thought it was really pretty, so I took from that to do a background that is inked somehow with a stencil. And so I'm using this awesome plaid stencil from Scrapping Reflections, which is Sandy over at State Goddess's shop. I'll put a link down below for that, and for this product, I believe it is still available on her site. I am using some Victorian Velvet Distress ink and some Tattered Rose Distress Oxide ink. And I am kind of alternating vertically, but I think when I end up making the layout, it ends up being horizontal. So I'm just going to rotate my paper. But I really like the way that this ends up looking. I do have a photo of my niece's middle child. If you watched on Monday, I just did a layout of her third child for his 5-month photos. Now I'm doing her little girl's 5-month photo. This is her middle child, who is super adorable, and she is now, I believe, 2 years old. So, or well, a little over 2. But I chose my colors for my oxide inks based on the quilt that she is laying on, and so I pulled out the peaches in it and the pinks, so I wanted it to have both colors. I am going to be using an acrylic piece from Color Cast Designs that says Welcome Baby, and I realize at 5 months old they are no longer Welcome Baby. You know, usually you put that on your 1-month photos or your coming home photos, but I am going to put it on her 5-month photos because I've already done a lot of her photos when she was really tiny. Well, she's still pretty tiny at 5 months, but the ones that were younger than 5 months I've pretty much already done, and I wanted to make sure I used it, and the color was just a great color match for this particular photo of her, and so that's why I went ahead and I chose to go ahead and use it, and I think it looks really cute, and I am pretty happy with the way that it came out. Now I am using a little bit of Shimmerz Paints in Elope and in Strawberry Fields. These happen to be sitting on my desk, left over from another project. They were the perfect colors, so I just went ahead and reached for them and did a little bit of splattering with both colors just to bring the colors across the layout, and I really like the way that it ends up looking. The photograph is going to get matted on a bunch of papers, so it is going to cover up a lot of that splatter, but I like that the splatter is peeking out from behind, and it just kind of finishes the whole layout off. I'm going to use a couple of dies from Ellie's Studio. These are called pocket tabbed tags, and I've had them in my stash for a long time, so I'm not sure that they're even available any longer. So I apologize for that if they're not available, but any tabbed die would probably work for this. As you can see, the smaller one, I'm not actually using the entire die. I'm just cutting the top off, and then I'll just cut a strip off the bottom because it's only going to peek out across the layout anyway. It's not like you're going to see the whole middle section of it, which is great because I didn't have enough paper for the entire thing. As you can see there, I only had a little tiny strip of this brownish paper, and so I just had to make do with what I had. Now I do have lots of different strips of paper from my scrap bin, and I am going to just do a bit of layering using those pieces. Now none of them are really quite large enough to go all the way behind my photograph, with the exception of the piece that I have laying already on my background, and so I am just building up several layers in between that larger piece and the photograph. I will be using a little bit of black distress ink just to kind of give those layers a little bit of pop and dimension so that they don't look so flat, because they are very similarly colored in tone, so that this ends up being pretty close to a monochromatic layout. I mean, I know pink and orange are not the same colors, and it's a very light pink and a very light orange, but it's kind of got that monochromatic vibe going on, which I love. I think it's a fun way to do a layout, and I do it often. So And it's really easy to do if you're working out of your scrap bin and you have your scraps sorted by color. So that is just a note to you if you are someone who wants to try monochromatic, hasn't done it much, or feels like it's a very difficult thing to do. Work with your scraps out of your scrap bin and just start pulling in colors that are all from the same color family. Now I do have some acetate leaves here. Those are leftovers from the Spectrum Sherbert collection, which I still have tons of. I can't even, I mean, I had so much of this collection, it's ridiculous. But trying to get some of it used up. Anytime there's warm colors, actually anytime there is a use for the colors in that collection, I just start pulling it out because I have so much of it. I am going to add a couple of butterflies and a couple of the leaves here. I'm going to keep the embellishing very simple because I think that the mixed media already does a lot for it. And with all of those paper layers, it already does a lot of work for me as well. I do like the idea of having these butterflies that are darker in tone to bring the depth of color from the quilt and the black and brown matting that I did there into my clusters. And then I do have these hearts that are also acrylic. Yeah, they are acrylic. I was going to say acetate. They're acrylic hearts from Color Cast Designs that are the same colors as the title, but I'm only going to use the white ones. I decided not to use the pink ones because they would blend in a little bit too much, and I wanted the white ones to brighten things up. I am using my tiny attacher to attach the butterflies to the layout. Now, my tiny attacher doesn't reach all the way over, so I just opened it up like a regular stapler if you were going to use it on a bulletin board. It works with the tiny attacher. You just have to have something behind it to receive the staple, and I just put a foam mouse pad, but any piece of foam would work behind it so that the staples have something to go into, and then you have to flip your whole layout over and flatten those staples. So you'll see me do that here in a bit. I am using mini glue dots to hold these little hearts in place, and I just used my regular ATG gun to hold the acetate in place. The ATG glue sticks really well to the acetate, so you don't have to really worry too much about that. It might work for your acrylic as well, but when the acrylic is really narrow, it's like too big. It's too wide. It probably would have worked on that piece that says baby though, but not on the piece that says welcome. So yeah, I just use my glue dots for that. I feel like that works the best. I have used liquid glue and I haven't had any problem with it, but I don't really trust it fully, so I stick with what I know as much as possible. And then I'm flattening out those staples on the back, and I'll put a little washi over them so they don't get caught on the page protector when I slide it in and out. And while I do that, don't forget to check out everyone playing along with Scraptember and Mixed Media Mayhem. The playlists for both hops are down below, as well as the Facebook groups for both series can be found below, so that you can go and play along. If you look in the albums section in Mixed Media Mayhem, you will see the inspiration or recipes that are coming up for the following Fridays. And Scraptember does have a calendar for each prompt for every day in September. I am just using a white pen to write 5 months and the date. And then I am also writing her name on one of the tabs. That is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have questions or comments, leave them down below. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. I really appreciate you watching my channel today. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this one, and don't forget to subscribe. You can also hit that bell to get notifications every time I release a new video, and I will be back again tomorrow with another one, so come back and see me then. Bye-bye.